The novel Seat of Will. How can the life of man become centered in his being? How can he experience himself? How can he attain his own self? We have discussed this in the previous two talks of today. Some more things have been asked. In answer to them, I will talk to you now on 3 points. Tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, I will answer the questions which are not related to today's discussion. And now I will answer the questions which are related to today's discussion, dividing them into 3 points. The first point is about how a man should start living his life from the novel center, centered in the self, centered in his being. Before I go into this, I would like to discuss 3 other significant ways through which the energy that is dormant in the novel can become awake. Once it is awake, it becomes a door through which man can experience a consciousness which is different from his body. I will tell you the 3 points, then I will discuss them. The first point is right diet. The second point is right work. And the third point is right sleep. A person who does not get a right diet, right work, and right sleep can never become centered at the novel. Man has lost touch with all these 3 things. Man is the only species whose diet is not predictable. The diet of all other animals is certain. Their basic physical needs and their nature decides what they should eat and what they should not, how much they should eat and how much they should not, when they should eat and when they should stop. But man is absolutely unpredictable. He is absolutely uncertain. Neither does his nature tell him what he should eat, nor his awareness tell him how much he should eat, nor does his understanding decide when he should stop eating. As none of these qualities of man are predictable, the life of man has gone in some very uncertain directions. But if there is even a little understanding, if man starts living with even a little intelligence, with even a little thoughtfulness, opening his eyes even a little, then it is not at all difficult to change to a right diet. It is very easy. Nothing can be more easy. To understand right diet, we can divide it into 2 parts. The first thing, what should a man eat and what should he not eat? Man's body is made of chemical elements. The whole process of the body is very much chemical. If alcohol is put into a man, then his body will be affected by the chemical. It will become intoxicated, unconscious. Howsoever healthy, howsoever peaceful the man may be, the chemistry of the intoxicant will affect his body. Howsoever saintly a man may be, if he is given poison, then he will die. Socrates died from poisoning and Gandhi died from a bullet. A bullet does not see whether the man is a saint or a sinner. Neither does poison See whether the man is Socrates or some ordinary person. Neither do the harmful toxicants and poisons, nor does the food see who or what you are. Their functions are straightforward. They go into the chemistry of the body and start working. In this way, any food which is intoxicating will start harming and creating disturbances in man's consciousness. Any food which takes man into any kind of unconsciousness, any kind of excitement, any kind of extremity, any kind of disturbance is harmful. And the deepest ultimate harm is when these things start reaching the navel. Perhaps you are not aware that in neuropathy, all other world mud packs, vegetarian food, light food, water soaked cloth strips, and tube baths are used to heal the body. But no neuropath has yet understood the point that the effects on the body of water soaked cloth strips, mud packs, or tube baths are not so much because of their special qualities but because of how they affect the navel center. And the navel center then affects the rest of the body. All these things, the mud, the water, the tube bath, affect the dormant energy in the navel center. And when this energy rises, the person starts to become healthy. But naturopathy is still not aware of this. Naturopathy thinks that perhaps these beneficial effects are coming from the mud packs, the tube baths, or the wet strips on the stomach. They do have benefits, but the real benefits are coming from the awakening of energy in the dormant navel center. If the navel center is mistrusted, if a wrong diet, wrong food is used, then slowly the navel center will become dormant and its energy will become weaker. Slowly that center will start falling asleep. Finally, it will almost go to sleep. Then we are not even aware of it as a center. Then we are aware of only two centers. One is the mind where thoughts are constantly moving, and the other is a little bit of the heart where emotions are moving. We have no contact with anything deeper than this. So the lighter the food is, the less it creates heaviness on the body, the more valuable and significant it will be for the beginning of your inner journey. For a right diet, the first thing to remember is that it should not create excitement. It should not be intoxicating. It should not be heavy. After eating rightly, you should not feel heaviness and drowsiness. But perhaps all of us feel heaviness and drowsiness after our meals. Then we should know that we are eating wrongly. A very great doctor, Kenneth Walker, has said in his autobiography that according to these lifelong experiences, whatever people eat, half of it fill their stomachs and half of it fill the stomachs of the doctors. If they were to eat only half of what they usually eat, they would not become sick at all, and there would be no need for any doctors. Some people get sick because they do not get energy food, and some people get sick because they get too much food. Some people die of hunger, and some people die of overeating. And the number of people dying of overeating has always been more than the people dying of hunger. Very few people die of hunger. Even if a man wants to starve himself, there is no possibility of his dying for at least 3 months. Anyone can live without food for 3 months. But if a man overeats for 3 months, then there is no possibility that he will survive. There have been people whose very ideas make us feel strong. There was a great emperor called Nero. He had two doctors whose job it was just to make him vomit after his meals so that he could enjoy eating at least 15 to 20 times a day. He would eat a meal and then he would take medicine to make him vomit so that he could enjoy food again. But what we are doing is not very difficult. Nero could have doctors at his palace because he was an emperor. We are not emperors, but we have doctors in our neighborhoods. Nero was making himself vomit every day. We make ourselves vomit every few months. We eat a wrong diet and accumulate all kinds of things. Then the doctor gives us a cleansing and we start eating the wrong food again. Nero was a wise man. He arranged for a cleansing every day. We do it only after every 2 or 3 months. If we are also emperors, then we would do the same thing. But we are helpless. We do not have the facilities, so we cannot do it. We laugh at Nero, but in a certain way, we are not different from him. Our wrong attitude towards food are becoming dangerous to us. They are proving to be very costly. They have taken us to a point where we are somehow barely alive. Our food does not seem to create health in us. It seems to create sickness. It is a surprising situation when our food starts making us sick. It is as if the sunrise in the morning were to create darkness. This would be an equally surprising and strange thing to happen. But all the physicians in the world are of the opinion that most of the diseases of man are because of his wrong diet. So the first thing is that every person should be very aware and conscious about his eating. And I am saying this especially for the meditator. It is necessary for a meditator to remain aware of what he eats, how much he eats, and what its effects are on his body. If you experiment for a few months with awareness, you will certainly find out which is the right food for you, which food gives you tranquility, peace and health. There are no real difficulties, but because you do not pay any attention to your food, are never able to discover the right food. The second thing about food is that the state of your mind when you eat it much more important than what you eat. Food will affect you difficulty if you eat joyously, happily, or if you eat when you are filled with sadness and worry. If you are eating in a worried state, then even the best food will have a poisonous effect. And if you are eating with joy, then it is possible that sometimes even poison may not be able to have its total effect on you. It is very possible. So, the state of mind you are in when you eat is important. In Russia, there was a great psychologist called Pavlov. He did some experiments on animals and reached an amazing conclusion. He experimented on both cats and dogs. He gave food to a cat and he observed the cat through an X-ray machine to see what happened in her stomach after she ate her food. When the food went into the stomach immediately released digestive juices. At the same time, a dog was brought to the window of the room that the cat was in. When the dog barked, the cat became afraid, and the X-ray machine showed that the secretion of digestive juices within her had stopped. The stomach closed. It shrank. Then the dog was taken away, but for 6 hours her stomach remained in the same condition. The digestive process of the food did not begin again, and the food remained undigested in the stomach for 6 hours. After 6 hours, when the juices started flowing again, the food was not in a digestible state. It had become solid and difficult to digest. When the cat's mind became worried about the presence of the dog, the stomach stopped its work. Then what about our situation? You live in worry for 24 hours a day. It is a miracle how the food you eat is digested, how existence manages it in spite of you. You have no wish to digest it. It is an absolutely miracle how it is digested, and how you remain alive is also a miracle. Your state of mind should be graceful and blissful. But in your houses, the dining table is in the most gloomy state. The wife waits for the whole day for her husband come home to eat, and all the emotional sickness she has gathered in the last 24 hours comes out just when the husband is eating. She does not know what she is doing, the work of an enemy. She does not know that she is serving poison on her husband's plate. The husband is also afraid and worried after the whole day's work. He somehow dumps the food into his stomach and leaves. He has no idea that this act, which has finished so quickly and has run away from, should have been a prayerful one. It is not an act which should have been done in a hurry. It should have been done in the same way as someone entering a temple, as someone kneeling to pray, as someone sitting to play his veena, or as someone singing a song for the beloved. This act is even more important. He is giving food to his body. It should be done in a state of tremendous blissfulness. It should be a loving and prayerful act. The more happily and joyously and the more relaxed and without worry a person can be when eating, the more his food will start becoming the right food. The violent diet does not mean only that a man eats non-vegetarian food. It is also a violent diet when a man eats with eager. Both of these things are violent. While eating in eager, in suffering, in worry, man is also eating violently. He does not realize at all that just as he is violent when eating the flesh of something, so is it when his own flesh burns up inside because of anger and worry. Then violence is present there too. Then the food which he is eating cannot be non-violent. The other part of right food is that you should eat in a very peaceful, a very joyful state. If you are not in such state, then it is better to wait until you are and not to eat for a while. When the mind is absolutely ready, only then should you eat your meals. How long will it take for the mind to be ready? If you are aware enough to wait, then at the most it can remain disturbed for only a day. But we have never bothered to listen to it. You have made eating food a completely mechanical process. You put food into the body and then leave the dining table. It is no longer a psychological process, and that is dangerous. On the body level, right food should be healthy, non-stimulating and non-violent. On the psychological level, the mind should be in a blissful state, graceful and joyous. And on the level of the soul, there should be a feeling of gratefulness, of thankfulness. These three things make food the right food. You should have a feeling that because food is available to me today, I am grateful. I have been given one more day to live, and I am tremendously grateful. This morning I have woken up alive again. Today the sun has given its light to me again. Today I will be able to see the moon again. I am alive again today. It was not necessary that I should have been alive today. Today I could have been in my grave, but life has again been given to me. I have not earned it. It has been given to me for nothing. For this at least, a feeling of thankfulness, of gratitude should be there in your heart. You are eating food, you are drinking water, you are breathing. You should have a sense of gratefulness for all this. Towards all of life, towards the whole world, towards the whole universe, towards all of nature, towards the divine, there should be a feeling of gratefulness. I have received one more day to live. Once more, I have received food to eat. For one more day, I am seeing the sun, seeing the flowers blossoming. I am alive again today. 2 days before death came to Ravindranath, he said, Lord, how grateful I am. Oh God, how shall I express my gratitude? You gave this life to me when I was not in any way worthy of receiving it. You gave breathing to me when I had no right to breathe. You gave me experiences of beauty and bliss which I had not earned, at all. I am grateful. I am overwhelmed by your grace. And if in this life that you have given I may have received any pain, any suffering, any worry, it must have been my fault because this life of yours is very blissful. It must have been my fault. So I do not ask you to give me liberation from life. If you feel me worthy, then send me into this life again and again. This life is yours, is very blissful, and I am utterly grateful for it. This feeling of gratitude should be present in all aspects of life and very particularly concerning your diet. Only then can your diet become the right diet. The second point is right work. That too is no longer an essential part of your life. Physical work has become a shameful act. A Western thinker, Albert Camus, has jokingly written in one of his letters that a time will come when people will start asking their servants to make love for them. If someone falls in love with somebody, he will appoint a servant to go and make love on his behalf. This may happen someday. You have already started having everything done by others. Making love is the only one thing which you still do yourselves. You appoint others to pray for you. You employ a priest and tell him to pray on your behalf, to do the rituals on your behalf. You appoint a priest in the temple and tell him to worship on your behalf. You are even having your servants do things like prayer and worship. So, if you are getting your servants to worship for you, it is not unthinkable that someday wise people will tell their servants to make love to their beloved on their behalf. What is the difficulty? And those who will not be able to afford servants to do the job will feel ashamed that they are so poor that they have to make love themselves. It is possible someday because there is so much in life which is significant but which you are now getting done by your servants, and you are not at all aware of what you have lost by losing the significant things. All the strength, all the vitality of life is lost because man's body and the man's being have been created for a certain amount of work, and now he has been spared all that work. Right work is also an essential part in the awakening of man's consciousness and energy. One morning, Abraham Lincoln was polishing his shoes in his house. One of his friends who was visiting him said, "Lincoln, what are you doing? You polish your own shoes?" Lincoln said, "You surprise me. Do you polish other people's shoes?" "I am polishing my own shoes. Do you polish others' shoes?" The friend said, No, I get my shoes polished by others." Lincoln said, "It is even worse to get your shoes polished by others than to polish others' shoes." What does it mean? It means that we are losing our direct contact with life. Our direct contacts with life are those that come through work. Once, when Confucius was alive, about 3000 years ago, He went to visit a village. In a garden, he saw an old gardener and his son pulling water out of a well. For the old man, the work of drawing water out of a well was very difficult, even with the help of his son. And the old man was very old. Confucius wondered if this old man did not know that bullocks and horses were now being used to draw water out of a well. He was drawing it himself. He was using such old methods. So Confucius went to the old man and said, "My friend, don't you know that there has been a new invention? People are drawing water out of well with the help of horses and bullocks. Why are you doing it yourself?" The old man said, "Speak softly, speak softly. For me, it does not matter what you say, but I am afraid my young son may hear you." Confucius asked, "What do you mean?" The old man replied, "I know about these inventions, but all inventions like this take man away from physical work. I do not want my son to become disconnected, because the day he becomes disconnected from physical work, he will be disconnected from life itself." Life and work are synonymous. Life and work have same meaning. But slowly you have started calling those people who do not have to do physical work fortunate, and those who have to do physical work unfortunate. And in a way it has become like this. Because in a way many people have dropped working. So some people have to do too much work. Too much work kills you. Too little work also kills you. Hence, I say right work. The proper distribution of physical work. Each person should do some physical work. The more intensely, the more blissfully, the more gratefully the man enters the work part of his life, the more he will find that his life energy has started moving down from the brain and closer to the navel. For work, neither the brain nor the heart are needed. The energy for work is derived directly from the navel. This is its source. Along with the right diet, a little physical work is absolutely essential. And it is not that. It should be in the interests of others. That if you serve the poor, it benefits the poor. That if you go to a village and do farming, it benefits the farmers. That if you are doing some labor, you are doing a great social service. These are all false things. It is for your own sake, not for everyone else's sake. It is not concerned with benefiting anybody else. Someone else may benefit by it, but primarily it is for your own good. When Churchill retired, one of my friends went to see him at his home. In his old age, Churchill was digging and planting some plants in his garden. My friend asked him some questions about politics. Churchill said, "Drop it. Now it is over. Now, if you want to ask me something, you can ask me about two things. You can ask me about the Bible because I read it at home. And you can ask me about garden because I do it here in the garden. I have no interest in politics now. That time is over. Now I am simply working and praying." When my friend returned, he said to me, "I do not understand what kind of man Churchill is." I thought he would give me some answer, but he said he was simply working and praying. I told him to say working and praying is a repetition. Work and prayer mean the same thing. They are synonymous. And the day that work becomes prayer and prayer becomes work is the day that right work will be attained. A little physical labor is absolutely essential, but you have not paid any attention to it. Not even the traditional sannyasins of India have paid any attention to work. They have refrained from doing it. There was no question of their doing it. They simply moved in another direction. Rich people stopped physical work because they had the money and they could pay someone else to do it. And Senians stopped because they had nothing more to do with the world. They do not have to create anything or to earn money. So, what did they need work for? The result was that two respected classes of society moved away from work. So, the people in whose hands working remained slowly became disrespected. For a seeker, physical work has great significance and usefulness, not because you will produce something out of it, but because the more you are involved in some kind of work, the more your consciousness will start becoming centered. It will start coming downwards from the mind. It is not necessary for the work to be productive. It can be non-productive also. It can be a simple exercise. But some physical labor is absolutely essential for the agility of the body, the complete alertness of the mind, and the total awakening of the being. This is the second part. But one can make mistakes in this part also. Just as one can make a mistake with one's diet, eating either too little or too much. So mistake can happen here also. One can either do no physical exercise at all or do too much. Wrestlers do too much exercise. They are in a sick state. A wrestler is not a healthy person. A wrestler is putting too much of a burden on the body. He is raping the body. If the body is raped, then some parts of the body, some muscles can become more developed. But no wrestlers live long. No wrestler dies in a healthy state. Do you know that all wrestlers, whether he is a Gama, a Sandva, or anybody else with great body, even the greatest in the world die unhealthy? They die prematurely and they die of violent diseases. Raping the body can develop the muscles and make the body worth looking at, worth exhibiting. But there is a great difference between exhibition and life. There is a great difference between living, being healthy, and being an exhibitionist. Each person should find out according to himself, according to his body, how much physical work he should do to live more healthy and more freshly. The more fresh air there is inside the body, the more blissful each and every breath is, the more vitality a person will have to explore the inner. Simone Weil, a French philosopher, has written a very wonderful thing in her autobiography. She said, "Until the age of 30, I was always sick. I was unhealthy and I had many headaches. But it was only at the age of 40 that I realized that until the age of 30, I had been a materialist. I became healthy when I became more spiritual. It was only later that I saw that my being sick and unhealthy was related to my materialism." A person who is sick and unhealthy cannot be full of gratitude towards existence. There can be no thankfulness in him towards existence. There is only anger. It is impossible for such a person to accept something from existence when he is full of anger towards it. He simply rejects it. If someone's life does not attain a certain balance of health through right work and right exercise, then it is natural that one will feel some negativity, a resistance, an anger towards life. Right work is an essential rung on the ladder to ultimate religiousness. The third point is right sleep. Eating has become disrupted, physical work has become disrupted, and sleep has become totally murdered. The thing which has become harmed the most in the development of human civilization is sleep. From the day man discovered artificial light, his sleep has become very troubled. And as more and more gadgets started coming into his hands, he started feeling sleep to be an unnecessary thing. Too much time is wasted in it. The time when we are asleep is completely wasted. So the less sleep he could do with, the better. It does not occur to people that sleep has any kind of contribution to the deeper processes of life. Some people think that the time spent sleeping is time wasted. So the less they sleep, the better. The more quickly they reduce the amount of sleep, the better. This is one type of person wanting to reduce the amount of sleep needed. Another type has been the monks and the hermits who felt that this sleep, this unconsciousness in the form of sleep, was the opposite to the state of self-realization or self-awakening. So according to them, it was not good to sleep, and the less you slept, the better. There was one more problem for the monks. They had collected too many represents in their unconscious, and in sleep all that represents started surfacing and entering their dreams. So a kind of fear of sleep arose because all the things that they had ignored during the day started surfacing in their sleep at night. The women they had left and run away from into the forest started appearing in their sleep. These monks started seeing them in their dreams. The monkey and the prestige that the monks had run away from started following them in their dreams. So they felt that sleep was very dangerous thing, out of their control. So the less they slept, the better. These monks created a kind of feeling in the whole world that sleep is something unspiritual. This is an extremely foolish notion. So the first group of people oppose sleep and feel that it is a waste of time, that there is no need to sleep for a long. The more time a person remains awake, the better. People who calculate everything and make statistics about everything are really strange. They have calculated that if a person sleeps for 8 hours, 1/3 of his day goes in sleeping. If a person lives for 60 years, then 20 years have gone to waste. Out of a lifespan for 60 years, only 40 years are available for use. And then they have calculated even further. They have calculated how much time a man takes to eat, to put on his clothes, shave, bath, and so on. After calculating everything, they started that almost our whole lives go to waste. When they started subtracting all that time, they realized that a person only appears to live for 60 years. In reality, 20 years go in sleep, some years go in eating, some years go in bathing, some years go in reading the newspaper. Everything goes to waste and nothing remains of life. These people created a panic. Their advice was to cut down on all these things if you want to have some time to live. Sleep takes up the most time in a man's life, so reduce it. So, while this group were advising a reduction in sleep and creating a wave of opposition to sleep, the second group, the monk and hermits, were calling sleep unspiritual and telling people to sleep as little as possible. The less a person slept, the more of a saintly person he was, and if he did not sleep at all, then he was totally saintly person. These two groups and their ideas have destroyed man's ability to sleep. And with the murder of sleep, all the deep centers of man's life have been shaken, disturbed, and become uprooted. We have not even noticed that the cause behind all the illnesses, all the disorders that have entered man's life is his lack of sleep. The person who cannot sleep rightly cannot live rightly. Sleep is not a waste of time. The 8 hours of sleep are not being wasted. Rather, it is because of those 8 hours that you are able to stay awake for 16 hours. Otherwise, you would not be able to stay awake all that time. During those 8 hours of life energy is accumulated, your life is revitalized, the centers of your brain and heart calm down, and your life functions from your navel center. For those 8 hours of sleep, you again become one with nature and with existence. That is why you become revitalized. If you want to torture somebody, then the best method invented thousands of years ago is to prevent him from going to sleep. It has not been possible to improve upon this method so far. During the last war in Germany and even now in Russia, the most popular method of torturing prisoners is to prevent them from sleeping. You simply don't allow the person to sleep. This is torture beyond all limits for the person. So, guards were put next to the prisoners to disturb their sleep. The Chinese first discovered this method some 2000 years ago. Simply not allowing a person to sleep was a very cheap method of torture. They would make the man stand in a cell which was so small that he could not move at all, could neither sit nor lie down. Then they would drop water from above, which would fall on his head, drop by drop. He could not move at all, neither sit nor lie down. So, after 12, 16, or at the most 18 hours, he would start shouting and screaming, "Help! I am going to die! Get me out of here!" Then they would ask him to tell them the things he was concealing. And after 3 days, even the most courageous person would give up. Hitler in Germany and Stalin in Russia did the same thing with hundreds of thousands of people. They would keep them awake and not let them sleep. One cannot experience a worse torture than this. Even if you kill someone, he does not suffer as much as when you do not let him sleep, because it is only in sleeping that he regains what he has lost. If he is unable to sleep, then he goes on losing and losing his life energy without being able to regenerate. He becomes totally dried out. We are a dried out humanity because our doors for receiving something are closed and our doors for losing everything have become more and more open. Sleep needs to come back into man's life. Really, there is no alternative. There is no step than that for the psychological health of humanity. Sleep should be made compulsory by law for the next 1 or 200 years. It is very important for a meditator to see to it that he sleeps properly and enough. And one more thing needs to be understood. Right sleep will be different for everybody. It will not be the same for everyone, because the body has needs which are different for each person according to age and to many other variables. For example, when a child is in the mother's womb, he sleeps for 24 hours a day because all his tissues are developing. He needs complete sleep. His body will develop only if he keeps on sleeping for 24 hours a day. It is possible that children who are born lame or crippled or blind wake up during the 9 months in their mother's womb. Perhaps someday science will realize that the children who somehow wake up in the mother's womb are born crippled or with part of their body undeveloped. It is necessary to remain asleep in the womb for 24 hours a day because the whole body is being created, the whole body is developing. A very deep sleep is necessary. Only then can all the activities of the body take place. When a child is born, he sleeps for 20 hours a day. His body is still growing. Then he sleeps for 18 hours, then 14 hours. Slowly, as his body starts becoming mature, he also sleeps less and less. In the end, it settles at a time between 6 and 8 hours. An old man sleeps less. It becomes 5 hours, 4 hours, even 3 hours, because the growth of the body of an old man has stopped. He does not need much sleep every day because now his death is coming close. If an old man were to sleep as much as a child sleeps, then he could not die. Death would be difficult. Death needs less and less sleep. Life needs deep sleep. That is why an old man by and by starts sleeping less and less, and a child sleeps more. If old people start expecting the same behavior from children as they do from themselves, it will become dangerous. And old people often do this. They treat children as if they were also old. They wake them up too early in the morning. It is 3 o'clock. It is 4 o'clock. Get up. They are not aware that it is all right if they wake up at 4 o'clock because they are old. But children cannot wake up at 4 o'clock. To wake them up is wrong. It is harming the body functions of the child. It is very harmful for them. A child once said to me, "My mother is very strange. When I am not feeling sleepy at all at night, she forces me to sleep. And when I feel sleepy in the morning, she forces me to wake up. I do not understand why I am forced to sleep when I am not sleepy, and I am forced to wake up when I am sleepy. You explain things to many people. Can't you explain this to my mother?" He wanted me to help his mother understand that what she was doing was very contradictory. We are not aware that children are often treated like old people, and then, as they grow older, they have to start living according to many fixed rules written in many books. Perhaps you may not be aware that the latest research says that there cannot be one fixed time for everyone to wake up. It has always been said that it is good for everyone to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. This is absolutely wrong and unscientific. It is not good for everyone. It may be good for some people, but it may be harmful for others. In 24 hours, for about 3 hours, the body temperature of each person goes down, and those 3 hours are the hours of deepest sleep. If you wake the person up during those 3 hours, his whole body will be spoiled and his whole energy will be disturbed. Generally, these 3 hours are between 2 and 5 in the morning. For most people, these 3 hours are from 2 to 5 in the morning, but it is not the case with everyone. For some people, their body temperature is low until 6 o'clock. For some, it is low until 7. And for some, their temperature starts becoming normal at 4 in the morning. So, if someone wakes up within these hours of low temperature, all 24 hours of his day will be spoiled and there will be harmful effects. Only when a person's temperature starts rising to a normal level is it time for them to wake up. Normally, it is all right for everybody to wake up with the rising sun, because as the sun rises, everyone's temperature starts rising. But this is not a rule. There are some exceptions. For some people, it may be necessary to sleep a little later than sunrise, because each individual's body temperature rises at a different time, at a different pace. So each person should find out how many hours of sleep he needs and what is a healthy time for him to get up. And that is the rule for him. Whatever the scriptures may say, whatever the gurus may say, there is no need to listen to them at all. For right sleep, the deeper and the longer you are able to sleep, the better. But I am telling you to sleep, not to keep on lying on the bed. Lying down on your bed is not sleep. To wake up when you feel it is healthy for you, to wake up should be the rule for you. Usually it happens along with the sunrise, but it is possible that this does not happen to you. There is no need to be afraid or worried or to think that you are a sinner and be afraid of going to hell. Many people who get up early in the morning go to hell, and many people who get up late are living in heaven. None of this has any relation whosoever to being spiritual or unspiritual, but right sleep certainly does have a relationship with it. So each person should discover what is the best arrangement for him. For 3 months, each person should experiment with his work, with his sleep, and with his diet, and should find out what are the most healthy, most peaceful, and most blissful rules for him. And everyone should make his own rules. No two persons are alike. So no common rule is ever applicable to everybody. Whenever someone tries to copy a common rule, it has a bad effect. Each person is an individual. Each person is unique and incomparable. Only he is like himself. There is no other person like him anywhere on the earth. So no rule can be a rule for him until he finds out what the rules for him own life processes are. Books, scriptures, and gurus are dangerous because they have ready-made formulas. They tell you that you should wake up at a certain time. You should eat this. You should not eat that. You should sleep like this. And you should do things in this way. These ready-made formulas are dangerous. It is good to understand him, but each person has to make his own arrangements for his life. Each person has to find his own path of meditation. Each person has to walk by himself and create a path for his spiritual journey. There is no ready-made highway for you to go and start walking on. There is no such highway anywhere. The path of the spiritual journey is like a small footpath, but a footpath that is not even there. You create it as you walk along it, and it continues for howsoever long you walk on it. And the more you walk, the more you understanding of the journey that is yet to come will develop. So these 3 points have to be kept in mind: right diet, right work, and right sleep. If life proceeds rightly on these 3 points, then there is more possibility of opening what I call the novel center, which is the door to spiritual life. If you get close to that door, it opens. Then a very unique thing happens, something of which you have had no experience in your ordinary life. Lost everything. When I left here, a friend came and said, "What you say is right, but until we have contentment, it is very difficult to be convinced." I did not say anything to him. Perhaps he thinks that he will get contentment by my talking about it. But he is absolutely wrong and is wasting his time. I make whatever effort is needed from my side, but an even greater effort must be made from your side. If you do not make the effort, there is no purpose, no meaning in my saying anything. People constantly say to me that they want peace, they want bliss, they want a soul. Yes, you want everything, but you do not get anything in the world just by wanting it. Desire alone is absolutely impotent. There is no strength in it. Desire alone is not enough. Determination and effort are also needed. It is alright that you desire something, but how much effort do you make for that desire? How many steps do you take towards that desire? What do you do for that desire? According to my criterion, the only proof of your desire is the effort you make to satisfy it. Otherwise, there is no proof that you have a desire. When a person desires something, he makes some effort to get it. That effort is the proof that the person desired something. You say that you desire, but you have no intention of making any effort to get it. You have no determination for it. To close this topic, I will repeat one more point. I told you about the three centers. The center of intellect is the mind. The center of feelings is the heart. What is the novel the center of? The novel is the center of willpower. The more activated the novel is, the more intense the willpower becomes, and the more you can attain the determination, the power, the life energy to do something. Or think of it in reverse. The more determined you are, the more you gather energy for doing, the more your novel center will develop. Both of these are interdependent, related to each other. The more you think, the more your intellect will develop. The more you love, the more your heart will develop. The more determined you are, the more the center of your inner energy, that central lotus of the novel, will develop. A small story, and then I will finish my talk. A blind fakir was begging in a town and came to a mosque. He spread out his hands in front of the door of the mosque and asked, "Can I get something to eat? I am hungry." The people passing by said, "Idiot, this is not a house where you can get something to eat. This is a mosque, a temple. Nobody lives here. You are begging at a mosque. You will not get anything here. Go somewhere else." The fakir laughed. He said, "If I do not get anything from the house of God, then from what other house can I get anything? This is the last house I have come to, and by mistake this last house is a temple. How can I move anyway from here? If I move, where will I go? There is no other house after this one. So now I will stay here, and I will only move when I get something." The people started laughing at him. They said, "Idiot, nobody lives here. Who will give anything to you?" He replied, "That is not the question. If I have to leave the house of God with empty hands, then where will my hands be filled? Then my hands will not be filled anywhere. Now that I have stumbled upon this door, I will leave only when my hands are full." And the fakir stayed there. For 1 year, his hands remained spread out in the same way, and his being went on longing in the same way. The people of the town started saying he was mad. They said to him, "You are absolutely a fool. Where do you think you are sitting with your hands spread out? There is nothing to be gained here." But the fakir was one of a kind, someone unique, he remained sitting and sitting and sitting. After a year had passed by, the people of the town saw that perhaps the fakir had attained something. The aura around his face has changed. There was a kind of peaceful breeze floating around him. A kind of light appeared around him, a fragrance. The man started dancing. Where before there had been tears in his eyes, now there was a smile on his face. He had been almost dead. But in this 1 year, his life blossomed again and he started dancing. People asked, "Have you attained something?" He said, "I would have been impossible not to gain something, because I had decided that I would either gain something or I would die. I have attained more than I desired. I desired only food for my body, and I have gained food for my soul also. I wanted only to fulfill the hunger of my body, but now the hunger of my soul has also been fulfilled." They started asking, "How did you attain this? How did you gain this?" He said, "I did nothing, but I put all my willpower behind my thrust. I said to myself that if there is a thrust, then along with it there should also be a total determination. My total determination was behind my thrust, and now my thirst has been quenched. I have reached to the place where that water is available, and after drinking it, my thirst has gone." The meaning of determination is to have the courage, the inner strength and willpower to do something about whatever it is you want, to act according to whatever you think is right, and to follow whichever path seems right to you. If you do not have this determination, then nothing can happen. Through my or anybody else's words, if something could happen through my words, then things would be very easy. There have been many people in the world who have said very good things. If things could have happened just through their words, by now everything would have happened to the whole world. But neither Mahavira, nor Buddha, nor Christ, nor Krishna, nor Muhammad could do anything. Nobody can do anything unless you yourself are ready to do it. The gangs go on flowing, the oceans are full, but you have no bucket in your hands, and you are shouting that you want water. The gangs says, "There is water, but where is your container?" You say, "Don't talk about the container. You are the gangs. There is so much water in you. Give some to me." The doors to the gangs are not closed. The doors to the gangs are open, but you need a container. On the spiritual journey, where there is no container of determination, no fulfillment or contentment can ever be attained. You have listened to my talks so silently. The 3 meetings of our first day now come to an end, and from tomorrow we will start discussing the other 2 points. Now, after this meeting, we will sit for the night meditation for about 10 minutes. You should understand 2 or 3 things regarding the night meditation. Then we will sit for it. Would it be possible to lie down? Is there space enough for the meditators to lie down? First understand, then we will do the night meditation. The morning meditation is to be done sitting. Life arises, wakes up in the morning. So it is helpful to meditate sitting up. The night meditation has to be done lying in bed before you go to sleep. After the meditation, just go to sleep silently. This is the last thing in the day. The morning meditation is the first thing that happens after waking up. The night meditation is the last thing that happens before going to sleep. If one properly enters a state of meditation before sleeping, one's whole sleep is transformed. One's whole sleep can become a meditation because sleep can contain rules. The first rule is that the last thought at night will become the central thought in your sleep, and it will be your first thought on waking up in the morning. If you have gone to sleep at night in anger, then throughout the night your mind and your dreams will be filled with anger. And when you wake up in the morning, you will find that your first feeling and your first thought will be of anger. Whatever we take to sleep with us at night stays with us the whole night. That is why I say that if you need to carry something into your sleep, then it is better to carry meditation with you, so that the whole sleep revolves around meditation, around its peace. Slowly, within a few days, you will find that dreams disappear, that your sleep becomes like a deep river. And when you wake up in the morning from a deep sleep, deep from this night meditation, your first thoughts will be of peace, of bliss, of love. So the morning journey has to be started with the morning meditation, and the night journey has to be started with the night meditation. The night meditation has to be done while lying down. While lying down in bed, we will do the experiment here lying down. And after you have lied down, you have to do 3 things. The first thing is that the body has to be totally relaxed, as if there is no life in it, so loose, so relaxed, no life in the body. And for the 3 times your mind has to feel that the body is becoming relaxed, more relaxed, more relaxed, because whatever the mind feels, the body will follow it. The body is just a servant, a follower. The body expresses whatever we feel through action. If you feel anger, the body picks up a stone to throw. If you feel love, the body hugs somebody. Whatever you want to be, whatever you want to do, when the thought rises in the mind, the body turns it into action. Every day we see the miracle of the body transforming a thought into action whenever it rises. We never think of becoming relaxed, otherwise the body would do that too. The body can relax so much that one does not even know if it exists or not. But that only happens after doing this experiment for a while. For 3 minutes you have to go on feeling relaxed. Right now I will give you suggestions so that you come to experience the feeling. When I give you the suggestion that the body is becoming relaxed, then you will feel that the body is becoming more relaxed, more relaxed. The body will become relaxed. As the body becomes relaxed, the breath will become calm. Calmness does not mean that breathing will stop, but it will become slow, tranquil, and deep. Then, for the 3 minutes, you have to feel that your breathing is becoming calmer and calmer. The breathing is becoming relaxed. Then slowly the mind also becomes relaxed and tranquil. When the body becomes relaxed, the breath will become calm. When the breath comes calm, the mind will automatically become silent. All these three things are related. So first we will feel that the body is relaxed. This will make the breathing calm. Then we will feel that the breathing is relaxed. This will make the mind silent. And then I will give you a third suggestion that now your mind is becoming silent and empty. In this way, after following each of these three suggestions for a short time, I will say that now the mind has become completely silent. Then for 10 minutes you will lie in silence in the same way that you were sitting in silence this morning. You will hear the cry of a bird, you will hear the sound of dog and many other sounds. Just keep silently listening. It is just as if there is an empty room and a sound comes in, resonates and goes. You should not think about why you are hearing these sounds. Neither should you think about why the dog is barking, because you have nothing to do with the dog. There is no reason for you to think about why this dog is barking or why this stupid dog is disturbing you now that you are meditating. No, you have nothing to do with it. The dog does not know at all that you are meditating. He has no idea about it. He is absolutely innocent. He is just doing his job. It is nothing to do with you. He is just barking. So you have to let him bark. It is not a disturbance to you unless you make it a disturbance. It becomes a disturbance only when you resist. When you want the dog to stop barking, the trouble begins there. The dog is barking, it should bark. We are meditating, we should meditate. There is no conflict between these two. There is no opposition. You are silent. The dog's sound will come, linger, and go. It is not a disturbance to you. Once I was staying in a small village in a rest house. A political leader was also staying with me. That night I don't know what happened, but all the dogs from the village gathered near the rest house and started barking. This politician became very disturbed. He got up, came into my room and asked, "Have you gone to sleep? I am in a great difficulty. I had driven those dogs away twice, but they keep coming back." I said, "If you drive somebody away, they will always come back. It is a mistake to try to drive somebody away, because whoever you drive away thinks that he is needed in some way. He thinks that he has some importance and that is why he is being driven away. And dogs are just poor dogs. They must think that they are needed in some way, that they are important to you. So they came back. And the other thing is that the dogs have no idea that a political leader is staying here, that they are barking for you. They are not human beings. If human beings were to hear that a political leader is here, they would gather around him. Up to now, dogs have not become intelligent enough to gather around when a political leader comes. The dogs come here every day. Do not have this foolish idea that is in your mind that they have come here because of your importance. They definitely do not know about it. And as far as the problem of your sleeping is concerned, the dogs are not keeping you awake. You are keeping yourself awake. You are unnecessarily thinking that the dogs should not bark. What right do you have? The dogs have the right to bark and you have the right to sleep. There is no contradiction between them. These things can happen simultaneously. There is no conflict or clash between them. Let the dogs go on barking and you go on sleeping. Neither can the dogs say that you shouldn't sleep because your sleep creates a disturbance to their barking. Nor can you say that they disturb you. And I told him, just accept that the dogs are barking and listen silently. Drop the resistance. Accept their barking. And the moment you accept it, the barking of dogs is also transformed into a musical rhythm. I don't know when he went to sleep, but when he woke up in the morning, he said to me, I don't have any idea what happened, but I am really amazed. When there was nothing else to do, I had to accept it. At first, your idea made no sense to me. My ideas do not immediately make sense to anybody. It did not make sense to him either. But when I felt utterly helpless, I realized there was no other way. I either ruin my sleep or accept what you say. There were only two alternatives. Then I thought that as I had given so much attention to the dogs, I should now give attention to your suggestion and see what happens. So I lay down silently and listened and accepted the barking. After that, I have no idea when I fell asleep. And I have no idea how long the dogs kept on barking or when they became silent. I really had a good night's sleep. So do not resist. Listen silently to whatsoever is all around. This silent listening is a very miraculous phenomenon. This non-resistance, this non-opposition towards life is the clue to going into meditation. So first we will become relaxed and then we will listen silently in a state of non-resistance. The lights will be turned off so that you do not feel that others are present. It is easy to forget the dogs. It is far more difficult to forget the people around you.